What is up, everybody? Welcome one, welcome all to a very special impromptu edition of the Fromville Hour. You guys have heard me said it. The second we get anything even remotely close to resembling something new regarding From, poster, trailer, anything, I promised I would go live right away and we would dive right into it. And it looks like today is that day because it looks like we are finally receiving something new to discuss. And that appears to be the supposed episode titles for season 4 of From. And we're going to dive headfirst into every single title that has been revealed and discuss them with each and every one of you, and a potential release date that might even be attached to them. Whether it's legit or not, don't know. That is what we are going to dive into. But here we go. We at least have something new to discuss. Just taking a quick little glance at some of the episode titles. Like you and I were saying, some of them, like you were saying, some of them on the surface appear like they might be a little obvious, but this is From too, so we never know like what they're going to mean. But I'm intrigued. I'm a little intrigued just based off what I've seen so far from some of these titles.
Yeah. You know what it makes me want to do? It makes me want to go back, watch all of the episodes, look at the
Mhm.
title of the episode, and then correlate how they label the episodes so I
Yeah.
could get more
What kind of
insight, right?
meaning
Like
does it have
insane.
in the
Yeah.
episode? Yeah.
I have to watch it for the 400th time. But yeah, some of the titles seem to be very fitting. I know that we're still debating, is it real? Is it not? But the titles
Mhm.
are fitting, I must say.
They're
So
pretty
I
fitting.
don't know. I'm leaning towards it's real.
They're pretty fitting. They're pretty fitting. I mean, regardless of whether they're real or not, we are definitely going to dive headfirst into them and discuss them either way, and have a little bit of fun while we're doing it. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. But welcome one, welcome all. So good to see each and every one of you here. Let's see who we got in the chat. We got Bill D first up there. This is going to be an awesome discussion tonight. Finally, we got something to work with. I mean, we do. At least it's something new to talk about, and that is exciting. You know, we've been waiting with bated breath for a new poster, a official release date, a teaser trailer. We've been waiting for something, anything. So yeah, it's nice to have something new to talk about and to discuss the validity of it as well. So yeah, it should be fun. We got Ragnarok Falls in the house. What is up, Ragnarok? Good to see you as well. We got Ando. Here we go. I miss Boyd. We all do, my friend. We all miss Boyd. We miss Fromville. I miss the fucking cowboy. I miss them all. Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of the fucking cowboy, welcome. We got Kiwi Skirt in here as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got David Riley. My mouth is salivating, waiting for the season. I'm right there with you, my friend. Literally right there with you. It's like, come on, I do. I feel like the salivating Rancor in A New Hope, Star Wars reference. But yeah, I'm right there with you. We got Golden Child in the house. What is up, Golden Child? Hello, guys and gals. It's been too long. Way too long, indeed. It's been way too long. It has been too long. We got Daryl in the house. What is up, Daryl? Good to see you as well. We got Wolf Spear in the building. Welcome, Wolf Spear. See Catherine down there as well. Welcome, Catherine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to see each and every one of you here. Let's see who else we got. We got Anu in the house. What is up, Anu? We got Anon in the building. Welcome. I see Bill D down there as well. Welcome, Bill D. I see Elizabeth is in the house. What is up, Elizabeth? Good to see you as well. I really hope they don't give too many spoilers / leaks. I do too. I mean, you know, From is getting more and more popular every season, and with popularity, unfortunately, starts to come leaks. We kind of experienced it in season 3. Unfortunately, a lot of people had the season 3 finale, the whole final episode of season 3, completely spoiled for them. I was lucky enough to avoid it because I just completely like avoided online like the plague for that whole week. But you know, some people didn't. Some people unfortunately got spoiled before they got to see the season 3 finale. So yeah, you know, hopefully we don't get too many leaks. There's always going to be some, but hopefully there's not too many like big ones like we got last year where the whole finale gets ruined for people.
Yeah, I mean, I call it the great spoil of 2024. It was a debacle. It was insanity. It was an entire debacle where it was hard to not get spoiled. Like
It was,
I
yeah,
s- an entire scene with Kimono Lady and the whole egg like thing, like it was completely spoiled. It
yeah,
was ruined for me. So at
yeah.
that point, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go in there and look at everything. And
Might
I
as well
did.
see
I
it
looked
now.
at
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah.
And when they spoiled the finale, all of us were like, no way, an egg? Like a
This is no,
pod?
there's no
Like
way.
this
That's
is
what I saw people
insane.
saying.
Yeah.
Because I avoided the internet like the plague that week. But after the finale was there, I went back and went through all my comment sections, and that's what a few people were saying. Like, oh, Fatima's going to give birth to an egg that is smiley. I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on here? And sure as shit, that's what it was. But yeah, man, hopefully we don't have that happen again in season 4.
I mean, you would think that they would learn from the experience, right? Usually they are
Tighten up
very
security.
generous. They tend to be very generous and they
Yep.
give a lot of access to a lot of people, and they're very open, right? They let people use a lot of their stuff for their videos, which is great.
Yeah.
But then again, hopefully they did learn from that situation.
Hmm. Yeah, it's you hate to see that happen. Especially when people are receiving early access. Like that's a huge privilege. Like I myself don't accept it. I never have, never will. But for those that are offered it, I always consider it a huge privilege whenever I'm offered it. But even whether I take it or not, but that's, yeah, it's a huge privilege. And to take that and to kind of like leak stuff online on Reddit and stuff like that, to just deliberately spoil things, it's kind of fucked up. But this is the internet, and unfortunately I think we're just at a point in time where we're living in a day and age where spoilers are inevitable. It's really about limiting the spoilers. There's always going to be there, but it's really about limiting how many you see, I guess. And that's what I try to do. I try to limit how many spoilers I see, because they're out there. The internet is dark and full of spoilers, as Melisandre would say.
Mhm.
Let's see what else we got. We got the Cool Line channel. Give me a K sub. Welcome, Cool Line channel. Good to see you. Welcome. Got Pam Jam in the building. Welcome, Pam Jam. Nice to see Pam. Indeed, absolutely. We got Big Heck in the house. What is up, Big Heck? Good to see you, my friend. What up? What up? I'm getting hyped for some From. I am too, my friend. Right there with you. I mean, it's been so long since we've had anything remotely new to discuss when it comes to From. I mean, we've been waiting so long for something, anything. So it's nice to kind of get something in the form of these episode titles that we can kind of dive into and see what we can see, and see how valid they end up being. We get God from the MKE. Sorry, God from the MKE. Welcome. When is the trailer dropping? Is the big question, right? I mean, honestly, from the production of From, it doesn't really follow a consistent method in terms of when post production ends or when principal filming ends, how much longer until the season comes out or the trailer comes out. You go back and you look at seasons 1, 2, and 3. The distance in between is different for every season. So they don't really follow a very consistent method where you can say, oh, filming stopped here, so we should expect a trailer here. You can kind of guesstimate based on past seasons. But for me, I thought for sure we would have had at least a little teaser by now. Some people are hoping that we're going to get one by the end of January. Some people are thinking it'll be in February. At this point, it's at this point I'm kind of just waiting for it to come, and I'm done guessing, because I thought for sure we would have had at least a little tiny snippet teaser by now. But no, again, a lot of people are hoping the end of this month, next month, the latest, we'll probably get a trailer, and I think that that could be accurate. I imagine it won't be any later than February. That's for sure. I imagine it can't be any later than February that we finally see some footage.
Maybe by Valentine's Day. That would be an amazing gift if they give
That
us
would
a
be.
trailer, a poster, something for Valentine's Day, MGM. Um, I'm wondering, right? Because when we see the pictures that were leaked of the episodes, it looks like it's higher quality. right? I noticed that hair and makeup improved and it looks higher quality. So I'm wondering, is that contributing to why everything is a little bit more delayed? Are they maybe investing more into the show since they saw that it did well? Did they
Mhm.
get a bigger budget and potentially that's contributing to it slowing down production of the poster, the trailer?
Anything's possible. I mean, as shows get more and more popular, studios tend to not mind shelling out a little bit more money for the budget if because they know the show's doing well. And then there's reshoots, like shows like these, especially a show like From. While it's not a huge, giant, big production that takes 2 or 3 separate filming units, it's still a TV series and it's still a big production that probably does require some degree of reshoots. And it could have just, I'm guessing up until this point, it could have just simply have been that, they had some reshoots and maybe their reshoots were a little more extensive than they originally planned. And maybe that's why the trailer is delayed or why we didn't get anything yet. But I imagine we're going to get something soon. I think, a lot of people like the end of January or February. Can't be later than February that we get some kind of footage, I would imagine. But we'll see. We'll see. Dow thinks it's coming very soon, most likely February at the latest. Yeah, I don't think it'll be any later than February. I think if February comes and goes and we don't get a From trailer, something is seriously wrong at that point. It will definitely get something by then, the latest, I think. I do agree. We got Samuel here as well. What is up, Samuel? Good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome. The Fromaholic Fletcher. Did I hear from? You did. You did hear from. Thanks to one of our many awesome members of the Frumly, Robert Saunders, recently has come across what he believes to be the legit episode titles for episode 4. And we're going to take a look at them and see what we can see and make some of our predictions and see if we can maybe translate, decipher what some of these titles might mean for the upcoming season. Something new to discuss finally. So welcome, 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 welcome. So I guess without further ado, let's just dive right into it. Yeah, there will be leaks. I just try to stay away from. That's really all you can do. It's really all you can do. There's always going to be leaks, but you just can't. It's all you can do is try and stay away from them. Would you really not accept new episodes of From? Yeah, I mean, I have. I've been offered early access to episodes for many, many shows. And I just don't like watching episodes before everybody else. It's not fun. It just doesn't sound fun to me. To watch episodes before everybody else and then not be able to discuss them. And then, of course, I like doing theory videos. I like breaking things down. I like theorizing what's going to come next. And I feel like if I'm watching all the episodes ahead of time, it makes doing theory videos kind of moot at this point because I already know what's coming. Can't really do theory videos at that point, or at least not genuine ones. So no, I mean, I've had early access to House of the Dragon season 1. I accepted early access to, and that's the only show I've ever accepted early access for. And even season 2, I didn't accept it for. I politely declined. But no, I mean, it's really not that difficult these days. Like as PM was mentioning earlier, especially MGM Plus, they'll give out early access to episodes to channels that don't really have to be that big. Like they definitely really have no problem handing out early access. They want people to review it early and make content on it early, which I totally understand. But it's just not my style personally. I like watching every week with everybody else, everyone watching the same episode at the same time. That way it's just more fun for me that way.
Yeah, Jeremy is a strange little monster, you guys. The men in yellow had to hunt him down for an interview. He refuses all access. I mean, take it and give it to me. I'll take it, right? But yeah, he totally wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I like watching every week with everybody else. I think I think that's what's fun about a show like this, when you have the entire fandom watching the same episode at the same time every week, and then you all discuss it. If one person has seen everything that nobody else has, that's not my idea of a fun television experience, I guess. But everybody has their preferences, which is totally fine. I have nothing against early access. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's very good for channel, like channel wise. If I was like only thinking about growing my channel, then yeah, absolutely. it will help channels getting early access. But no, I just, this is more of a passion project for me as opposed to a monetization project for me. I just love talking about the show because I love the show. But that's just me. That's just me. Sometimes I feel like leaks are just a strategy from the showrunners to keep us talking about it. I mean, a lot of people do kind of think that sometimes. I've heard comments like that for many different shows for years that, you know, the testing the validity of some of the leaks. Like, is this really a leak? Or is this something that the studio leaked in order to generate some buzz? Because studios have done that before. Like, that is 100% something that studios have done. Marvel used to do it all the time. Out of nowhere, you'd get like this super like wicked crisp and clear like HD video of a Marvel film being filmed. And it's like, you know damn well somebody didn't film that on their iPhone and upload it. This is like a crisp, clear 4K image. It's like, this came from the studio. They leaked it to try and make it seem like it was a leak to generate buzz. Studios definitely do that. That is definitely 100% true. Fucking studios. Fucking studios.
I mean, I don't know if MGM, you know what? I'm very
MGM,
frustrated.
I don't know.
I'm
The
so
bigger ones do.
frustrated. I'm so frustrated with MGM, okay? Because they put in money to that horrible show, The Institute, that like I suffered through. They put so much money into that, and then they don't really put money into From. They don't push From the way that they push The Institute.
Yeah.
And their marketing, it's like you guys really don't want viewers, because actually there was a whole discussion online. People were saying if From was on Netflix, it would blow up. If From was on another
Like
network where it was more
HBO.
available,
Yeah.
yes, and they put in marketing,
Yeah.
it would blow up because it's an amazing show. There's nothing
Mhm.
like it. There's nothing like it. But MGM has this jewel and they're just not pushing it. I don't know. They're very
Mhm.
frustrating.
It is. It is frustrating sometimes when you see the amount of effort that they put into their marketing. It definitely seems like they don't spend a ton of money on marketing. Most of their marketing seems to be located online alone. They you don't very rarely. I don't know if I've ever seen like a commercial for From like on television, like on mainstream television during like a sporting event or something. I don't think I've ever seen a commercial for From, like a real commercial. It's pretty much all online marketing. And yeah, I mean that's only going to get you so far. You got to kind of plug into the main hub at some point. But I mean, I got to say, for MGM being such a small streaming service, for From to have become as big as it has is a huge testament to just how good the show really freaking is. Because it was not easy. The show had a lot of hurdles to leap in order to kind of get where it's at now. And yeah, I think it's a huge testament to the actual quality of the show. Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, yeah, let's just pull these up and we'll take a look at these episode titles. Why not, right? We've delayed enough, haven't we? All right, now this was very interesting, and again, big shout out to Robert Saunders for finding these, and we're going to take a look at them starting from the very beginning. A few of them are TBA, which is just to be announced. So maybe I think there's like 2 or 3 of them that are TBA. 2 of them, episode 3 and episode 7 don't have titles. They're TBA, which is to be announced, which could potentially mean that the titles themselves were maybe too spoilery, that they just didn't reveal them. Could mean any number of things, really. But season 4, episode 1 is supposedly titled The Arrival. Now, I think when we see that, I think, we kind of instantly think of the arrival of the Man in Yellow, right? I mean, who had the big arrival at the end of season 3? Who are we all dying to see at the beginning of season 4? The arrival of the Man in Yellow. But I feel like that's almost like too obvious. That's almost like too easy for it to be referring to that. I feel like it's going to have some kind of dual meaning where it's going to be referring to something else as well. because there's potentially a lot of other things that could be arriving, like new characters. We know we have a new character entering Fromville in season 4, a new cast member that's going to be a cast regular. The arrival could be referring to her. So while the Man in Yellow springs to mind at first, it could mean something totally different.
It could mean something totally different. So in the Discord, you're amazing people. I love your
I
people in
know
the
the
Discord.
Discord killing it.
Amazing. Robert Saunders, Nick, Taryn, we were all kind of looking at it and they agreed, more than likely it sounds like the arrival of Sophia, the pastor's daughter, and it
Hmm.
would make total sense. But I would like to remind the family something. There was a pattern that emerged with the other episodes. So the
Yeah,
pattern that we were noticing in the past, they would have a title like The Arrival, and there would be two characters that were kind of going through the same journey.
yeah,
It
dual
was
meaning.
completely exactly
Yeah.
right. It
Hmm.
applied to two different storylines.
Yeah.
So the arrival could be both of them. It's more than likely not just one arrival.
Mhm.
It's gonna be two characters going through that same pattern. They used to do that all the time,
They
where
have.
they would have a
Yeah.
character storyline, and it would signify something for both of them. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking Sophia and the Men in Yellow, right? That would be two
Yeah.
arrivals.
Yeah. Or again, the arrival of Smiley, even as Jen, the teacher, brings up. Smiley
Mhm.
has, the revival of Smiley. Smiley has arrived again. So yeah, I mean, again, and you're 100% right. How many times have we seen titles where the title will have multiple meanings within that episode, not just referring to one character, but sometimes referring to multiple meanings within that same episode. So yeah, the arrival might not be referring to one person at all, but multiple different arrivals. Absolutely. But yeah, Smiley, Man in Yellow, Sophia, the new character, or something else entirely. Who knows? Who knows? I thought the arrival was the boats, says Bill D. Hey, you never know. You never know. A lot of people have really wanted some kind of boat action in Fromville ever since
Mhm.
the very beginnings when they first started kind of talking about Boyd and his boat and the boat key and showing it a few times. A lot of people want some boat action in From, for sure. For sure. And yeah, rival of Sophia, Smiley 2.0. Yep, absolutely. Could be. Could be. Honestly, I'm worried about Boyd in the caves. Like the monsters must know he is there. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how season 4 begins in terms of like, is it going to pick up exactly where season 3 left off, where season 4 starts, and Boyd is still down there in those caves. I'm hoping that's how the season is going to start. And we have seen that one little behind the scenes snippet of Boyd and Kenny filming scenes for season 4 down in those caves, almost as though maybe Kenny goes after Boyd at the beginning of season 4 to see why he's taking so long or something. But yeah, I mean, while I do worry for Boyd, I mean, it's Boyd. It's the first episode of the season. I imagine he's going to make it out of those caves, no problem.
Yeah, and Pam Jam, we have seen, which we still have to figure out why, the reasoning behind it. But we have seen the creatures, the monsters have ample and multiple opportunities to hurt Boyd, and they never do. They always hold back, and they kind of make it seem like they don't hurt Boyd because they don't want to. But I'm beginning to think that they don't hurt Boyd because they can't. It's just not possible. So they go for the next closest thing to Boyd, right? There's a pattern there. So I'm thinking if he has witnessed that, they're more than likely just not going to do anything to him, um, because that's their pattern between Boyd
Mhm.
and them. I don't know why, but I think they can't touch him, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something they like actually can't do. Yeah, is Boyd protected in some manner, or are they simply just leaving him for last? I don't know. Doomed to new. But yeah, Sandflyer says arrival of new people slash person who is significant, and that's what does. And I agree with you there, and I like how you added the significant part, not just like another cast member acting, arriving. When you see a title like that, you know, the arrival, it brings with it that connotation that it is kind of important, right? Like it's like this important arrival that's going to be happening, not just someone arriving, like the arrival. It feels like it's got some, you know, oomph behind it, some significance, as you say. So yeah, that's kind of was my vibe I was getting from it as well. Like this, whatever this arrival is, it's gonna be significant. Yeah, for sure. For sure. The arrival of aliens, says Big Heck.
Mhm.
Where's Snug when we need him? Where is Snug when we need him? Yeah, the reveal of Smiley to Kenny following Boyd down the cellar. I think that's how season 4 is going to start. I do. I think Kenny's going to head down into those caves to see, you know, why Boyd's taking so long, or just because he's worried about Boyd. And yeah, maybe Kenny will see Smiley and, you know, freak out a little bit because Kenny also knows Smiley's dead. He was there when he died. But yeah, I think even if Kenny does go down there, they'll both make it out of those caves, no problem. I think we should have some replacement numbers. I mean, the numbers have largely been solved. Well, the numbers in the bottle have been solved. The numbers in the lighthouse still 100% haven't been confirmed. I know a lot of us are kind of operating under the theory that they are dates, which would line up with some of the numbers some of the dates that we know in Fromville. Like we know 1978 is one of the numbers in the lighthouse, and we know that was one of the time periods of the previous cycle. So we do technically still have some numbers that we're not 100% sure what they represent, but at this point, most people are thinking that those are dates. So yeah, do we need new numbers on top of it? I don't know. I feel like it's a little late in the game to introduce new numbers, especially if they're really only doing 5 seasons in total. I feel like season 4 and 5 is the time where you start kind of wrapping up all of these mysteries, not continuing to just kind of open new ones and new ones and new ones. But who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We shall see. Only if there's also a pony, the arrival. I mean, imagine someone arriving on horseback. That'd be pretty fun. That would be pretty
Yeah,
fun.
a pony and a boat, right? There has to be a pony and a boat. That's the
Yeah,
strangest song I've heard. I still don't get the meaning behind it, but I'm thinking, where did we leave off,
yeah,
right? Because that's going to have something to do with how we start, how we begin. And I'm starting to think it would be too obvious that the arrival is what we already know. It would have to be something else.
yeah.
And Jade and Tabitha know everything. They just remember everything from their previous life. Could it potentially be that they're going to talk to us about how they arrived on that land? Because it seems like they were not
Uh,
native to the land. They arrive, right? We see boats that are arriving to this land, and then they do the sacrifice. Then we see how their story is depicted. After their arrival, they do this thing, the sacrifice with the children. So could we potentially be hearing from Tabitha and from Jade the story
mm.
of how they arrived onto the land?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's a possibility, and I like that idea too. That, you know, this arrival, it should be referring to something new. Absolutely. I mean, because like you said, you know, it could potentially refer to the Man in Yellow, but we already saw the Man in Yellow arrive. But I like that it potentially pertaining to something just completely new, something that maybe none of us anticipated. And that would be a really good one. You know, us, Jade and Tabitha kind of recounting their original arrival in Fromville or in this land or in this predicament that they found themselves in. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. The Arrival title could be a throwback to Fromville Origins. Yeah, where the original settlers made the talismans. Very much could be. Very much could be. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll down. What if the arrival is some flashback of people entering from we haven't seen? Maybe. I mean, Fromville is so huge and so massive and so vast. Like we have no idea how big this place really truly is, or if there are other people out there somewhere that our survivors have just never come in contact with. We have seen remnants of other, remnants of other civilizations, remnants of humans or intelligent beings living there at some point. We see the cannibal village that we got in season 3 that we know next to nothing about, and who built it, what the totems are. So we have seen signs of life, signs that there has been life there for a very long time. And part of me always wondered, like, what else is out there? Are there other people out there that we've simply never come in contact with because they're just too far away? We've never ventured that far yet. Because you get to the top of that lighthouse and you see what Tabitha sees. From's vast. Like this is a vast, vast place that they're stuck in. Who knows what else is really out there?
Yeah, I mean, that would make a lot of sense. The food, right, is our first indication that there are people. Unless it's magical, it could be magical because Boyd found a lot of things,
The
like
livestock. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it could just be magical. Um, I don't know, for some reason, I don't like the idea of other settlements because we
Mhm.
just have so much going on within the
Just a little
town.
too much. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like, let's just answer some questions, you guys. Let's focus on the town. Where is the
And well,
hotel? Like, I still don't know where the hotel went.
I
Can
know,
you
right?
focus? Right?
Mhm. And that's what frustrated me about season 3 and them introducing Cannibal Village. If you're gonna introduce something like Cannibal Village this late in the game and go a whole season and not tell us anything about it, like the entirety of season 3, we didn't learn anything about that new settlement. So yeah, no, I had a similar frustration in season 3 where I'm like, all right, at least give us a little something to go on heading into season 4 as to what this new settlement might be. You introduced it for a reason, but hopefully we'll get it early season 4. We got Kiwi Scare, who's been a member for 30 months. Holy cow. Thank
Whoa.
you so much, Kiwi Skirt, for being a 30-month member. That is so awesome. Woohoo, 30 months. Keep it coming. Thanks, Jeremy. Well, no, thank you, Kiwi Skirt. I very much appreciate you. You've been here since like day one, practically. Awesome mod. Always dropping the link to the Discord for people to find it. Very much appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the support over these last 30 months. Wow. That is
Wow.
awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Kiwi. Awesome, awesome, awesome mod. Maybe the motel will arrive. That's a good one. Maybe the motel itself will arrive. Let's see. I think someone else had something interesting about the arrival. I think it was Jen, the teacher. And I think it was, I believe it was you, Jen. I'm trying to find the comment here. But I think Jen was saying a second ago that maybe the arrival is referring to Julie arriving into the past and kind of mastering
Mm.
some of her story walking. And I like that. I think that's actually an interesting idea, an interesting take on the arrival title.
I really like that, Jen, the teacher, our friend here. That would make a lot of sense because
Or
we have
was
to
it
think
Samuel?
about
My bad. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. If it was Samuel,
Samuel,
sorry.
Samuel, our other friend. Samuel, I really would like that because when we think about where did we leave off, we have to start from where we left off. And we left off with Julie being very determined to use her ability. She was talking to her brother. We know that her brother says you can't change the story. But I mean, you're going to try, right?
Yeah.
Somebody telling you you can't do it means nothing
That doesn't
unless
mean
you
you just give
try.
up and walk home, right? Yeah.
Exactly. He's a kid. What the hell does he know, right?
What do you know, Ethan? Just sit down, kid.
Exactly. Can you walk? No, you can't. So, I mean, you have to try, right? What else are you gonna do? You have to try all possibilities to get out of this place. So I'm thinking as soon as she hears that her dad is dead, that's the first thing she's gonna do because
That'll
that's
be
the
the
first thing that
fuel.
I would do, right?
Yep.
She is very attached to her father. We know that Julie had a difficult relationship with both of her parents, but she did stand up for her dad. Remember, she told Jade off because Jade used to kind of bully her dad, and she didn't like that. So I'm thinking that you're on the right track. It could totally mean that she immediately goes on and tries to save him and arrives at a different point in time.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be the perfect fuel. I think, yeah, once our current version of Julie, yeah, when she finds out that her father's dead and she has just, come in contact or just discovered this new ability that she might have, absolutely. That's going to be all the fuel that she needs to try and kind of get back to that moment. And that's where her story begins that's where her story begins, merging our current Julie with the future version of Julie that we got, which the Julie that she will one day become. Yeah, yeah, good old Jim, man. He's gonna be the fuel. We got Kiwi Skirt who has just gifted 5 memberships. Wow, thank you so much, Kiwi. That is incredibly generous of you. Thank you so much for the 5 memberships. One, two, three, four, 5. Looks like David Riley's now a member. Dolphin Susan's now a member. Mandrin's now a member. Chalk's now a member. Doc Kaiju's now a member, and shoot, that was the 5th one. Excuse me. Doc Kaiju is also now a member. Welcome one, welcome all. The custom emojis are free for all of the members to use. Be sure to spam them if you please. And thank you so much, Kiwi. I very much appreciate the support, and thank you so much for the gifted memberships. That's incredibly generous of you. You've always been such an awesome supporter, and I really am super grateful. Super, super grateful. I'm super grateful for everybody who comes and hangs out here. I really am. Like, you guys are the freaking best. The absolute freaking best. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's dive into the next one, shall we? Episode 2 in season 4 is apparently entitled Frey. Now, this is an interesting one. I mean, could it be referring to, heading into the fray, which is heading into danger in a sense? There's this was an interesting one, a little bit less obvious, a little more vague, and more open to interpretation, really.
Yeah, and I'm going on the Discord because I'm telling you they figured out all of the titles already for us. So I'm trying to see what they came up with the fray because that's one that I was like I don't know what that could potentially mean.
Hmm. Yeah. Sandflower, someone's emotions or a plan is unraveling out of control. Could be. Yep. The plan is fraying, kind of. Yeah, absolutely. Could be in that context. Definitely. Fraying nerves. I mean, people's nerves are getting frayed. I mean, especially once the rest of the town finds out that Jim's dead and he was killed in the middle of broad daylight. Especially once people find out that Smiley is back and that these monsters really can't get killed. Yeah, nerves are going to start getting really, really frayed. So yeah, that could definitely be it as well. Absolutely. The fray, I think, stands for the Matthews family having a rough time from Jim dying. Very well, very much could be. I mean, the Matthews family, they're going to be going through it. They are going to be going through it, especially, with Jim's death coming at like the worst possible time. Like his death came right after he and Tabitha were just starting to kind of, make up and reconcile. And Jim was finally starting to kind of see the husband that she needed. And boom, and then he just gets taken out. So yeah, the Matthews family is going to be picking up the pieces, I imagine, for a good portion of the beginning of season 4, and that could be referring to that. Absolutely. Into the fray would be normal, but just fray could mean anything. Exactly. If it was into the fray, it'd be a little more obvious. But with it just being fray by itself, much more open to interpretation. Exactly, for sure. Fray sounds like the folks fray after a death happens, like Christy dies. Maybe,
Mm.
maybe it's going to be a fray after Christy's death, or maybe after Jim's. Who knows?
Well, we already had. major events happen. Okay, so if we think about where we left off with Tilly's body, right?
Yeah.
So the townspeople are dealing with multiple things. They don't even know. So Tilly's body, then we have Jim's body, and what Boyd did to get to Fatima. So that's all
Yeah.
that's going on currently. We know that Acosta was vocal. She said, I'm going to tell everybody in town. So she's not just going to tell about Tilly's body, she's going to tell about like the torture
The
in order
torture.
to get to
What Boyd
Fatima.
did. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, they're gonna see it. They're gonna see his messed up hand. They're gonna see he's missing an eye. Like it's
He could say it was an accident, but she's going to tell the truth.
yeah. I accidentally smashed my hand into a million pieces and lost my eye at the same time. That's a fucked
Yeah,
up accident.
right. Right. He could try to like keep it to himself, because then he would have to
Mhm.
admit to everything he did.
Yeah.
But she said, I'm telling everybody in town. So if we look at the titles that follow, Terran and the guys in the Discord, they were looking at a title that follows further down is Heavy as the Crown.
Yeah.
Frey has to be that they separated and we're going to get another leader in town. Through the episodes, they're having hardships, and then we get to Heavy as the Crown,
Yeah.
meaning that has to mean that the split happens.
Yeah.
In episode 2, this is where our split happens,
Or this
and
is
Acosta is going to be on the leading end of the second faction of people who are
mm,
not going to want to hang with Boyd.
yeah. I think, and I definitely think there is a rift. I mean, there's definitely a rift coming. I think that they're laying the groundwork for that very, very beautifully with the town just really starting to lose faith in Boyd. So it's going to be a lot easier for people to kind of pull them away from Boyd's side. Um, so yeah, I think it's I think we're going to see a very interesting skirmish. And, the town has finally come together where it's not it's just one giant town. At the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the series rather, this was very much a town divided. We had Colony House and we had the town, and they didn't interact with each other very often. Boyd couldn't even go to Colony House without Donna saying, "Hey, you shouldn't be up here." And through all of their trials, through season 1, 2, and 3, they've basically just become one giant town again. But you see the cracks beginning to form in season 3. You see the people starting to slowly lose their faith and their trust in Boyd as the season starts to go on. And that's going to carry over to season 4. Absolutely. With people like Randall and Acosta and all of these other budding personalities. It's just a matter of time until some kind of schism happens again. So yeah, I think Frey maybe could potentially be referring to the beginning of the fray happening at the beginning of the season, and then by the time you get to Heavy Lies the Head, that's when the shit really pops off.
When they
Uh,
figure out, I feel like the townspeople, I mean, we have gotten into them so many times. The townspeople are super disrespectful. If you're going to rule over a group of people, those are the worst people to rule over because they are super disrespectful. They don't listen to Boyd. They're not thankful at all. They stormed Tien Cheng's house after she fed them by rationing and coming up with recipes with what they had. They're not really the best of people, the townspeople. So they turn on Boyd easily. We saw that at the diner. Like they're just waiting for the most minimal thing
yeah,
to turn on him. So it's
yeah.
not going to take more
Even
than
his own son.
Acosta. Even his son was like for
Even his
turning
own
against
son.
him. They're
Yeah.
waiting for the opportunity. But now what's really interesting is let's think about who would be the second leader. So we know that Boyd would be the first because he's always been. Donna no longer qualifies as the second leader. She used to be the second leader in town, Colony House. But
Mhm.
Donna sort of had a difficult time when she encouraged Fatima that the baby was a great idea, that the baby was something positive, that she should continue with this baby. She then kicked out Fatima and felt so bad about it, and then brought her back and wanted to
Yeah.
help her again. So her leadership skills have been put to the test. She has failed. I do not think that she's going to be leading the second party of people. So
Mm-mm.
could it be Acosta? And if it is Acosta, Are you guys serious? Like, she came into town shooting up the place. Like, that's how she
She
arrived.
literally came into the town fucking shooting. Like she literally, that's literally how she entered Fromville, just firing off shots. Like she's a nut.
Exactly. She shot one of you guys and then said, "My bad." Like,
Yeah,
my
my
bad. I
bad.
just like I wasn't listening, even though you guys were telling me, I just was not listening. Right?
Mhm.
And I'm a cop.
Yeah,
So, but then again, I question, would you follow Acosta? She just arrived. She doesn't have a lot of experience. Why would I follow Acosta? I just don't think I would. But then again, we're talking about the townspeople. We see
yeah,
that they make bad choices. They just do all the time.
yeah, yeah. Indeed, indeed. The townspeople tend to make some bad choices in Fromville. It just, it's part of the landscape.
Who do you think
Um,
would be the second leader, Jeremy?
of the who would be the leader of the
The
other
second group.
faction, you mean the skirmish? Like if they do have a little bit of a schism, I mean Acosta seems to be a very interesting candidate considering they've kind of laid the groundwork pretty well for Acosta, but it's almost like maybe that might be a little too obvious. And seeing someone kind of maybe come out of left field and start getting a little bit more unhinged as the season goes on and just completely like betray Boyd, I think that would be a much more interesting storyline as opposed to it being someone that Boyd is already at odds with. If it's somebody that Boyd's friends with, if it's somebody that Boyd is close with, that is going to cut a lot deeper than someone that he already doesn't really get along too well with. I would love to. I mean, I wouldn't love it because I love these two characters working together, but I mean, just storytelling wise, it would be interesting if Donna and Boyd had a split and started kind of butting heads. Do I think it's going to be Donna? No, probably not. But I don't know. I just feel like Acosta's almost a little too
Mhm.
easy, a little too kind of predictable. From has been very
Mm.
unpredictable up until this point. What we think is going to happen usually doesn't happen in most cases. But yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
how about this? Sorry to interrupt you,
No, no, no,
but
please.
I feel like you got the answer. Acosta is too easy, and they wouldn't follow her because she just got there. But who does Acosta have some power over that has all of the skills necessary for the job? Kenny. Kenny has
Mhm.
all of the skills necessary for the job. He can
Never.
be trusted, and
No.
Acosta has, I would have to say,
Mhm.
they have been hanging out a lot. Um, could it
Kenny's
be that
never gonna
like
go against
Kenny
Boyd.
betrays Boyd
No,
for Acosta?
Kenny's
Can you
never
believe?
gonna go
No,
against Boyd. Never. Kenny will never go against Boyd. I refuse to believe that. Refuse to.
that
No
would be
way.
so heartbreaking
It would
over
be. That'd be tough.
Acosta too, because
Would be
Acosta
tough.
has been so disrespectful with Boyd.
Yeah. No, I can't see Kenny ever going against Boyd. But who knows? I mean, anything's really possible, I guess. Randall is another one of those kind of
That's a good
characters
point.
that is a potential possibility. We're not quite sure which way Randall is going to kind of lean after all this cicada nonsense and everything that he's been going through. Is he going to have a little bit of a redemption arc, or is he going to go the complete opposite direction? I don't know. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section, in the chat. Who do you guys think, if there is going to be some kind of schism in Fromville,
Mhm.
who is going to be Boyd's main opposition? If that does happen, if the town does split down the middle, who is going to be Boyd's main rival? It better be Kenny over Acosta, says Kelly. She's a loose cannon. She is a very loose cannon. I reckon Kenny will take over. Ooh, yeah, I don't think Kenny will ever betray Boyd, but that's just me. That's just me. Let's see. Yeah, what are you guys thinking? Oh, Catherine thinks Kenny as well. Acosta is his main opposition. I mean, up until now, I mean, if he had one, I mean, they started to kind of work together a little bit towards the end of season 3, and then the Elgin thing happened, and they don't really see things eye to eye. Acosta is probably never going to see things through the lens of in which Boyd sees them, simply because Costa just doesn't have enough context. She doesn't have enough experience as to what this place is to understand why Boyd does the things he does. So I think Costa and Boyd are always going to butt heads, but I feel like she's almost like too easy, too obvious of a choice, you know. But it could be her. You know, maybe it's an obvious choice for that very reason. But yeah, I don't know. We shall see. In my humble opinion, it's similar to how Derry is infected by the presence of Pennywise. Fromville and its residents are ridiculously uninterested in sharing useful information or working together to escape. That's actually pretty interesting, Debbie. That's actually pretty interesting. I mean, yeah, you know, from when it comes to it and Derry, you know, Pennywise does have that like perception kind of filter draped over the entire town where they always just turn a blind eye to his evil acts and all these missing children. Could there be a similar kind of thing going on in Fromville that is deliberately keeping characters from sharing things with one another? That's interesting, man. Who knows? I mean, I suppose anything's possible, but yeah, who knows? Who knows? It will be Acosta. She's 2 know it all and wants to be in charge, says Elizabeth. Blue thinks it'll be Acosta with Randall, the two of them teaming up against
Mm.
Boyd. That I could see. That I could definitely see. Because again, I don't see Costa ever convincing Kenny to go against Boyd. But I think with the right kind of convincing, Acosta might be able to convince Randall.
I mean, you don't have to even try to convince Randall. Randall is ready. Remember, we had the massive incident where he says to Randall, leave no man behind, right? Like Boyd is all for being, a savior, right? So he's not going to
Yep.
leave Randall alone. But what does he do? He leaves Randall behind. The monsters then attack Randall and leave him up in
True.
the
You
ambulance like
left
a
me.
Christmas,
You
lit
left
up like a
me.
Christmas tree.
You
Yeah,
left me.
you left
Yep.
me. That's the first thing he says, and he says it so angry. He's like, "You
Yeah.
left me," and Boyd has nothing to say, right? He
Yeah.
says nothing because nobody else knows. Only they know, and they
Yeah.
haven't talked about it. So I don't think that it would take much to convince Randall to go against Boyd, because Randall knows that he is willing to leave you behind, not
Mhm.
care about you. He
Yeah.
only cares for his close family members. Now they
Yeah.
have proof.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. I don't think Randall would. He's got his own crap going on, and Randall does have his own crap going on. That is true. He's got that whole cicada mess that he still needs to sort out as well. Very true. Very, very true. Um, it has to be Randall going against Boyd, or is that too on the nose? Is that too obvious? I mean, again, it could be. I mean, you know, when I think of Acosta and Randall, yeah, you know, they're the obvious choice for a reason because they have had skirmishes and little riffs with Boyd in the past. So does that mean they're the too obvious of a choice? No, not necessarily. It could very easily be them. I mean, maybe that could be very easy in a sense where they've already had past problems. So it's kind of easy just to fall right back into that same old pattern. So even though they're kind of the obvious choice, they still very well could be the choice. Sometimes obvious is obvious for a reason, I guess. I see what he did there, Jeremy. Boyd and Acosta not seeing eye to eye over Elgin. I promise you, I promise I didn't even mean to do that. I legit didn't even mean to do that. I didn't even realize I was doing it. But yeah, that's actually funny now that you mentioned it. Seeing eye to eye over Elgin. Fuck. Good one. That was good. I promise I didn't even realize. Not saying Kenny is going to betray Boyd. Not saying that Kenny is going to be in charge because better him than Acosta. Yeah, and that's what I think. I think when it eventually comes to the point where Boyd either gets killed off the show or is too sick and incapacitated to continue because the Parkinson's is kind of kicking his ass, whatever the case may be, I do believe Kenny will at some point take over for Boyd. I feel like they've just done way too much foreshadowing for Kenny to one day. They're foreshadowing Kenny taking over for Boyd nonstop in every single season. I feel like you don't set up all that groundwork to not pay it through towards the end of the series. So I do. I think Boyd will make it very close to the end, but I do think Boyd will likely die, saving everybody. And I think Kenny will pick up where Boyd left off and finish the job and get everybody out. I don't ever see Kenny going against Boyd. I just never see that happening. I feel like he's the one character that will never go against Boyd. Even when his own son stood up against him, Kenny was the one person standing up for Boyd in that diner. Even when Ellis was kind of voicing his very public opinion against his father. But who knows? We shall see. We shall see. But all right, up next, episode 3 to be announced. So we don't have a title for episode 3. So we will go to episode 4 next, which is The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. Interesting. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. Now, let us know in the chat what comes to mind when you think of that title, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, and what is it going to pertain to from? What is this title going to tell us? What do you think, PM? Is the heart is a lonely hunter? Could that in any way be referring to Kenny and his misfortunes with Christy?
Hmm. Could it be Christy? Could it not be referring to, because the person that has the problem is the person that is hurting both people, who is Christy, right? Kenny is being hurt, and so is Mariel. And it's Christy, right, who has
Yeah.
that problem. She's the one that is not choosing really, or wanting to choose both people. Could it potentially be that this is where she dies?
Oof. I mean, they have been foreshadowing Christie's death a little bit, not even a little bit, two different occasions in which they kind of foreshadowed Christie's death in season 3, with her continuously coming up to Kenny and saying, if something happens to me, if I die, don't give up hope. You still have something to live for with Boyd. It's almost like they're preparing Kenny to lose Christie. It felt like. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. People are saying either Nick's theory or Kenny. What was Nick's theory on this one? Let me see if I can find that.
So Nick's theory was that the talismans are made out of the hearts of the ghoulish kids. But how many
Oh,
talismans do we have, and how many children
well,
do we have?
a little bit of a discrepancy. We have 12
Mhm,
talismans and
mhm.
7 children.
Okay.
But
So
I
we would
like it.
have 7, right?
Yeah.
If you guys could explain further the discrepancy in numbers so that we could understand it better. What is the theory behind the discrepancy in numbers? Did they
Mhm.
multiply maybe 2 per child, or?
I don't know. Don't know, but that would be 14, and we only have 12, unless there's 2 missing somewhere that they haven't found. I don't know. I mean, I like the idea in theory.
Mhm.
The numbers don't line up, but I like the idea in theory. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter could be another book reference. Very well could be. Very well could be. Let's see. The Heart is a Lonely Hunter.
It's a novel, you guys. The Heart is
Yeah,
a Lonely Hunter
I
is a
was just gonna
novel.
say. I'm gonna look this up. Is this a novel? So yeah,
It
book
is
reference. And From
1940.
tends Yeah, and From tends to do that all the time, where a lot of their titles will be titles of books. I mean, you look at season 1, I believe a few of their titles are Dr. Seuss titles. So yeah, The
Oh,
Heart
okay.
is a Lonely Hunter.
It's from 1940, and it takes time, place in the 1930s, explores loneliness and the human need for connection through the story of a deaf mute man, John Singer, who becomes an unwitting confidant for several isolated town misfits. Ooh, that could be Sophia, including a teenage girl, a black doctor, and a socialist.
Hmm.
So this could be in reference to Sophia. Sophia is the
It could be.
pastor's
It could
daughter.
be. It
And
could be.
if the novel revolves around somebody that kind of reaches out to the town's misfits in order to provide some sort of help or just emotional support, that could be how the cult starts. If we're going to have
Mhm.
a cult, she could start talking to people about the religion, right, as a way of comforting them, and she goes into a full-blown cult.
Okay, interesting. And I think we got a little bit of a clarification. I think Bill was saying, I thought Nick said the hearts the talismans were made from the hearts of the parents who sacrificed the children. Now that's an
Mm.
interesting one. That would line up 12, 12 parents, 12 talismans. That would line a little bit more up. So I think that's what Nick was going for. And I think Jen, the teacher, was also having a similar idea. That makes more sense because that lines up 12 and 12 if the talismans are like the actual hearts of the parents that sacrifice their children. I mean, that's an interesting one. That's a very good one. I like it. I like that.
I
I
like the way that it references what they did to their children,
Yeah,
because when you put it in a roundabout
and how
way,
their hearts turn to stone because of it.
they turned to stone. They became monsters and they cannot get close to you if you have their heart. Maybe there is, it's all of that reference of suffering because you've done something and you can't repent for it, right? And
Yeah.
now your heart is your biggest weakness because you have to live with regret. So it would make sense that what they cannot get close to would be their heart. I think it's perfect. I love
No, I
it.
like it.
I
I
love
like
it.
that. I like that one. Yeah, I think that one fits. Interesting. Very interesting. Very good theorizing, guys. Loving some of the stuff we're cooking with here. We're cooking with oil now. Jeremy, Robert says, Jeremy and PM, it could be a reference to Boyd not telling anyone that baby was Smiley. And the season 4 title is a reference to Fatima and Ellis looking for their child. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. I mean, that is something we've discussed a little bit in the past in terms of like how is Boyd going to handle this? What is Boyd going to tell everyone? I mean, this is something big that Boyd has just seen. The rebirth of Smiley, the same monster that he just killed not long ago. So what does he do with that information? I mean, I imagine he's definitely going to tell Kenny, and that's if Kenny doesn't just go into those caves after him and bring Boyd out. He'll definitely at least tell Kenny, but what is Boyd going to tell the rest of the town? How is Boyd going to handle this knowledge that he now has?
Hmm. I mean, that's a really interesting question. I'd like to see what the chat thinks. Is Boyd gonna tell yes or no, and why?
Yeah, does he keep it to himself in order to maybe he's afraid that it'll cause a panic, and that's the last thing they need in Frumville right now are townsfolk just panicking because things are already pretty frayed, pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. How will he handle that? Will he keep it to himself or will he tell everybody?
And
Don't know.
further than everybody, right? The two main people that need to know, which is Fatima and Ellis. If we're talking about Fatima and Ellis searching for their child, the reason why I don't think that that would be the case is because Fatima immediately rejected this baby.
She saw what came out of her too.
She saw what came out of her and she rejected that baby since the beginning.
Yeah,
She kept saying there's something wrong with this thing. This is not normal. This is not,
she was right.
her
Yeah,
baby. And she
yeah.
was right all along. So she had this rejection for the baby. She never had a moment where we saw her calling it her
Embracing it.
baby
Yeah,
or
yeah.
taking care of it. No, she wanted to run away from it and she wanted it out. When she was being fed the blood for the baby, force feeding
Hmm.
it, she never questioned what
No.
he was saying about it needs blood.
Yeah.
She knew this thing is evil. This is not a child, and this is definitely not my baby because I can't have children. So this
Hmm.
must be something else. She knew from the beginning. That's why I don't think that she would go looking for a baby that she knows she didn't have.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I agree. I'm with you 100%. And she knew right from the very beginning. She knew that there was something off about this because she knows her body. She knows that this is not something that should be possible. And yeah, she turned out to be right. She turned out to be right. I'm convinced this title refers to Boyd hunting Smiley. Ooh, interesting. Boyd's going to hunt Smiley again. Round two. Round
No,
two.
no, I just don't think so. Guys, remember, if you can't hurt them anymore. They have really changed the game because if you hurt them, guess what? Somebody gets to be pregnant again. They don't die. What happens is that they come back
What
and
if
now
Boyd
somebody
doesn't
has
put
to
that
have a
together?
pod.
What if Boyd doesn't put that together fast enough and he goes after Smiley again?
No, I don't. Boyd is
Yeah,
a smart man. He's
he
not an
is.
idiot.
Oh, he is.
Imagine, I mean,
um,
that would be insanity. That would
it
be
would be
absolute
insanity.
insanity because it would have to be Fatima. Well, no, I guess I was thinking Fatima because she's the one that's in a relationship, right? And somebody that could, but it could be anybody, really.
Uh-huh. Yeah, could be. Could be. But up next, we have season 4, episode 5, very interesting one, of Myths and Monsters. Something tells me that we're going to be learning a little bit more about the monster's true origins in this episode, and maybe even a little bit more about the original timeline that Jade and Tabitha were originally part of. Something just tells me that we're going to get some interesting kind of insight in this episode of myths and monsters. It's got to be a deeper explanation, or at least partly a deeper explanation into the monsters and the myth, what started all of this.
I think you're right on it, Jeremy. I think you're absolutely right. Of myths and monsters has to refer to what made them think that sacrificing their children would be a good idea. You don't just come to that conclusion. There has to be a myth. There has to be some sort of religious thing that was going on, a theology that made
And
them believe.
the myth could be the myth that the original parents were
Mhm.
sold in terms of getting immortality. They
Yeah.
thought they were going to be getting immortality. Maybe we'll finally hear the myth that they were told and why they thought they were getting immortality.
Exactly. So that would be the myth part of it and monsters, right?
And the
Um,
monster part, yeah.
how we know that they became monsters. We also know that it wasn't just a sacrifice of, simple, let's go ahead and kill the children.
Yeah,
It wasn't a 1 day sort of thing. The
no,
children were born in the dark, they lived in the dark, they were
and they,
older children. So
yeah,
this was years. And
yeah,
it wasn't just the fact that it was, we're going to sacrifice our children. They were not treated very well. We see the condition that the children were in.
yeah.
We also see that there is somebody from one of the past lives that was drinking out of a child's skull, drinking blood.
Mhm. Drinking blood
So
out of a skull, yeah.
that tells us that there's a deep theology that included multiple steps. It wasn't a 1 2 step sort of thing. It was multiple steps. Maybe they were drinking the blood of the children, and why were they drinking it? Like, what is it that convinced an entire town to allow for this? So I think maybe that's where we get to find out a little bit more. I'm just wondering why it would be in episode 5 and not in the finale.
Mhm. Yeah. Daryl Seymour has a good one too. I think in episode 5, Boyd has captured Smiley and he will talk to him. I think that's a much more interesting. Instead of Boyd just like going after Smiley and trying to kill him again, Boyd going back to that I want to capture a monster idea could be very interesting because again, that was another storyline they set up in season 3 that they never paid off. Boyd was all gung ho about going out there and trying to capture a monster and interrogate it. And then that storyline kind of just fizzled out into nothing. So yeah, it could get picked up again in season 4, where this time Boyd is going to go out looking to capture instead of kill, and he wants to learn the myths and he wants to learn about the myths and the monsters. So it could be that as well. That's an interesting one, Daryl. I like it. I like
That's
it.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
absolutely perfect, Daryl, because From is really, really good about when people say we're not getting answers, they remember what
That
they
that,
tell
that,
us
that
and they always
infuriates
come back around. They
me.
always come back around. They give us the answers. It takes a while, but they do. And something that stood out, they made a big deal about it, and we haven't returned to was the vial that they made that was the thing that they used to kill Smiley. They made a big deal about having this in their possession, right? And this thing being a powerful thing to have. So if he's going to capture a monster, now he has a way of making them afraid. They all saw what happened to Smiley once the
Mhm.
vial was put into him. So that's the way that you would capture. You would have to have a weapon that they would fear.
Mhm.
And I think that's a great way of bringing back the bile.
Yeah, we have talked about, will the bile ever resurface again at some point? That was, it was built up to be this potential MacGuffin that also kind of fizzled out into nothing. So will it turn up again? Because we saw it didn't really work as a weapon in terms of Boyd coating his bullets with it, but that's not to say that it's not going to have some other kind of use. So yeah, maybe the bile will return. Maybe. Yeah, I forgot about I imagine Boyd must have it. I imagine that's probably not something you would just throw away, even though it didn't work when Boyd coated his bullets with it. I have to imagine he probably kept some of it. It's probably not something you throw away. It's something you keep in the back burner for just in case. This is a in case shit happens insurance policy bile. So yeah, I'm sure it's probably still around somewhere. I'm sure it's still around somewhere. But yeah, awesome stuff. Okay. Up next, episode 6, we have If a Tree Falls in the Forest, which of course is referring to a very famous saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, was it ever really a tree? Did it ever really fall? So this is an interesting one. I feel like many implications here. Of course, obviously, you instantly think about maybe the main faraway tree getting cut down, and we saw the kind of beginnings of that groundwork being laid last season when Victor takes the axe to the faraway tree, the main faraway tree, and the boy in white shows up right away and tries to stop him. And you guys have heard me talk about this a million times before, how I think the boy in white could potentially maybe be the spirit avatar of the faraway trees themselves. And that's why he showed up so fast to stop Victor from cutting down that tree, because he knows that his life force is tied to that tree. Is someone potentially going to try and take out the boy in white in season 4 by taking down that tree, maybe?
I love it, Jeremy. I love that idea. And is that someone going to be the same person that has been frustrating us, Victor? He
Yeah,
already was going for it. He really was already going for it. He was deterred only by the boy in white showing up and then telling him, like, you've changed too,
yeah,
like, so he already has that idea and that
yeah.
desire to cut down the tree. He
Mhm.
stopped himself, but maybe through a series of things getting worse, he decides, you know what, I'm going to go through with it.
Victor does it
And
again.
then
Mhm.
exactly. And then what happens to the boy and why? If he's the avatar of the children that created the tree, does he die?
I don't know. Maybe that's why he doesn't want that tree touched, because it's important to his life force and it's important to their story. I have to imagine that this tree is definitely going to come into play again at some point. These trees are important. They're here for a reason. And they're, not just to shuttle people from one side of the forest to the other. These trees are going to have a very specific purpose, I think, in the end. But yeah, I've always liked that idea that the boy in white is potentially the spirit avatar of the faraway trees. Because again, you go and look at all of the instances, every single time someone has used a faraway tree, the boy in white has been involved. The only time he wasn't involved is when Dale used it. And we all saw what happened to Dale. He died.
Mhm.
So the boy in white seems to be very closely tied to these faraway trees. At least the evidence is pointing that way. So we'll see. We'll see. Will someone potentially try to cut down the tree in episode 6? And yeah, someone said in the chat, episode 6 is the most. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Daryl. Episode 6 title gets me excited. That was the one that I saw that got me the most excited. I mean, Of Myths and Monsters is good too, because I do kind of want to learn a little bit more about some of the origins of the monsters and stuff. But when I saw this title, If a Tree Falls in the Forest, I was like, okay, this one's really fun,
Mhm.
because it instantly reminded me of that whole theory that we've been talking about for a while here, the whole boy in white faraway tree theory. So that one was really fun to see for me as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like some ritual that creates the entity into from. Yeah, similar to the ritual that the Ankui children kind of created. The Ankui children essentially enacted a ritual of sorts when they poured all of their hope into the trees above them, into the roots above them that created the faraway trees. I just think they happen to create a little bit more than just the faraway trees. I think the boy in white was also created as the kind of avatar, the sentience, the consciousness of the trees itself. It's just a fun theory. Yeah, it's definitely my favorite theory. Definitely my favorite theory. I'm very proud of that one, indeed.
I love
But
that
yeah,
theory.
me too.
I love that theory. It makes sense because even when you think about scientifically, right? Now we have time traveling and we have like
I know.
multiple storylines, right? But if you think about it, um, they said when they explained the story to us that somebody told the children a story that gave them hope, and their hope made the tree. It didn't just make the tree. I think the hope made the possibility for them to be saved. If you're telling children and they genuinely believe you with all of their heart,
Mhm.
multiple people at the same time believing the same thing, that you're
Yeah.
going to save them, even though they're literally about to be sacrificed. Their hope might create a warp in time and space where they hope so badly to be saved, and they hope so badly that what you're saying is true, that they create the possibility of salvation themselves by creating
Mhm.
the tree, the boy, and from to
Yeah.
begin with. Like a
Mhm.
place where you can come back. You're gonna die, we're all gonna die, but you can come back over and over until you save me. I'm going to create that
Yeah.
opportunity. And if it's all of them focusing all of their power, their energy, their consciousness into this possibility, maybe they made it happen.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if they were able to kind of focus all of their energy and all of their kind of being into the roots to create the faraway tree, then who knows what else they were potentially capable of doing. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm really hoping that we're going to be getting very deep into the nitty gritty of what really happened during the sacrifice, how it happened, how the parents came to this conclusion in the first place, what exactly convinced them to do this, because we know there was some kind of outside influence. It's not like these parents just woke up one morning and thought, oh shit, if we sacrifice our kids, we're going to be immortal. Something brought this deal to them, something, coaxed them into doing this. So yeah, we got a lot to learn in season 4 for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Might learn why the trees are moving. Absolutely, definitely could learn why the trees are moving for sure. Maybe we see the origins of the roadblock tree, and they see before entering Fromville. Maybe. I mean, yeah, everyone who enters from, they always see a tree in the road. But what's interesting about the tree in the road is it's not the same tree. Everybody sees a different tree in the road. And that was something that even I didn't kind of pick up on until season 2, once more people started entering Fromville. At first, I thought everybody just sees the same tree. But when you look a little bit closer, if you actually take some of the stills, you can see the tree that the Matthews family see when they see their tree that they have to turn around for is a completely different tree than when Boyd and his family get stuck in Fromville, which is also another completely different tree that Tabitha ends up seeing when she gets stuck in Fromville again later on in the ambulance. So everybody that gets stuck in Fromville, they all see a different tree. It's not like it's just one tree that they all see. They all see a completely different tree that is usually native, I believe, to the area that they're driving in at the time.
Yeah, that would make perfect sense. Yeah.
Mm. Because they're different. I mean, we've seen it. We've compared the stills, multiple times. They're all different trees. That it's not the same tree that everybody sees. So that's something that also needs to get explained. How come everybody is seeing different trees? But yeah, a lot of stuff we still need to find out. Still a lot of stuff we need to find out. All right, episode 7 is another to be announced. We don't have the title for episode 7. Could just be a little too spoilery, so maybe it's not released. So on to episode 8. Heavy is the head, which of course is very derived from a very famous saying: "Heavy is the head that wears the crown." Heavy lies the head that wears the crown, to be precise. So yeah, I mean, obviously, when you think of this one, you instantly think of the strain kind of getting too much for Boyd. That Boyd has reached the end of his rope, and things are really starting to get bad. We've talked about a little bit the earlier, a little bit about this potential schism that might be happening in season 4, where maybe people or the town might start getting a little bit divided into maybe two different factions. Maybe not everybody wants to follow Boyd anymore, and we have seen people are starting to lose some of their faith in Boyd. We saw that in season 3. So yeah, heavy is the head that lies the crown is going to be a very interesting one. But yeah, this has got to be pertaining to Boyd and him probably continuing to lose his grip on the town.
Yeah, that seems very likely.
Well, and
I
all and just
also,
all the struggles that come with being a leader in general too for him.
yeah, it's been so rough for my poor boy. It really
Poor
has been.
Boyd.
Because I'm telling you, those people are unruly. They are the worst townspeople to try to preside over. But I also wanted to bring up something from the Discord.
Uh,
So, Taran Matheru, he explained this, I think, really well. So regarding that title, Terence says, heavy is the head that wears the crown, meaning ruling is harder than you think. And usually it would
exactly.
be a new ruler, somebody new, so not Boyd, a new ruler, as they have not yet come to the realization. So I really like the way that he's phrasing it, because if it's a new ruler, right, this is somebody
Mhm.
that is having the experience of wanting to
Leading for the
rule.
first time. Yeah.
Exactly. And getting to that realization of, oh, this is very
This is hard.
isolating. This is very difficult. So it wouldn't be Boyd, it would be the second person from the second faction,
Yeah.
whoever that may be. I like the way that he explained it would be somebody that has to come to that realization. And for Boyd, I feel like he realized that if he hadn't yet, he definitely realized when the diner full of people stood against him. I mean, he was so emotional about it. Do you recall he screamed at his child, at Ellis, and said, like, how could you? How could you scream at me, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I think he has that realization. It must be somebody new.
I like that. No, I like that idea. I think that makes sense. I think that makes perfect sense. And we would see somebody new kind of coming into power if Boyd does kind of lose control of the town and somebody else takes over. It could be one of those deals where this person wants to take over for Boyd so much, but then once they finally do take over and they finally do have the power for themselves, they realize, holy shit, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Heavy lies the head that wears the crown. So no, I could totally see that being the case where this is a transfer of power type thing and someone else is taking over. And again, or it could just simply be referring to Boyd. The trappings of power, the weight of responsibility that comes with Boyd's position. Or it could be referring to both. These titles often have dual meanings. So no, I like that. I like that. I think that's a good one. I think that's a good one. Shout out to Taryn. Oh yeah, love it. Yeah, new leader. New leader on the rise. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name ain't Boyd. Her name's Acosta, and she'll shoot anything that moves. Fucking crazy. But yeah, good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, let's see. Episode 9. Now, this is very interesting, very kind of self-explanatory. The calm before the storm, as the saying goes. This would have been, a brilliant title for season 1, episode 9, right before the storm came. But yeah, the calm before the storm is also very metaphorical, speaking for, this is the respite, the one little bit of calm, the one little bit of peace that we're going to have before everything hits the fucking fan. That is the calm before the storm. So it's going to be interesting to see and this is taking place in episode 9, which is the penultimate episode, which definitely makes you get the sense that they're building up to something very big happening in episode 10. If episode 9 is the calm before the storm, then that is going to it's the point of reflection, the point before the big battle takes place. So that's going to be very interesting to see what kind of tone episode 9 has, if they're kind of setting up this kind of somber tone for something really big and massive to happen in the final episode, which seems to be the indication. The calm before the storm means shit's getting ready to freaking pop off. Yep, the calm before the massacre. Indeed. Indeed. Boyd should sacrifice Ellis to save the town. Hey, if it works, if sacrificing Ellis saves the town, hell yeah, I say do it, Boyd. Do it for the greater good. Do it for the greater good. The calm before maybe the man in yellow is coming at the end of the season, and the man in yellow will kill people, maybe. Could very well be. I mean, maybe the storm, quote unquote, that is going to be coming is the man in yellow, and the calm before is what we're going to see in episode 9, where everybody is preparing for this big fight, this giant climactic moment that's going to happen in episode 10. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe the flood. I mean, we
the
have
flood,
seen we have
maybe the
seen
flood.
references. We have
Yeah.
seen so many references of just water everywhere, right? Victor keeps painting this almost as if it's part of a cycle. So maybe we have reached that cycle and they're gonna try to drown out the townspeople. It's the calm before the storm. There's gonna be the flood. We're gonna get a boat. Boyd is gonna save everybody on a boat. Maybe that's where we're going, right? We have been waiting and we see it all over. There's pictures of little rain, like, you know.
Yeah, could be. Could very well be. The title's like the end before the punchline. I feel like they want us to fill in the blanks. Another hat nod to fans. They do a lot of the episode titles do kind of feel a little bit that way, don't they? Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. It's the calm before the storm. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, it's like they want us to kind of complete the punchline. You're right. It's definitely a trend we're seeing with these episode titles. We'll see. We shall see. Episode 9 of season 4 of From better not be calm. Yeah, I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be fully calm. I think it's going to be that metaphorical kind of calm before the storm, before the big shit pops off. But will it be a calm episode? Probably not. Shit's going to pop off. The storm could be like the great storm causing the flood. Yeah, the flood. Colony House becomes like Noah's Ark. I mean, it would probably be their best bet if a giant kind of flood does come into Fromville. Now, I mean, obviously, you'd love to be able to make it to something like the lighthouse, but it's a far way away. You're most likely you're not going to be able to make it in time. So yeah, you're going to have to get to taller ground, get to high ground, and get to Colony House. Not only is Colony House the biggest building in Fromville, but it also is high ground. The way Fromville is set up, Colony House is supposed to be the highest ground level. So yeah, if some kind of massive flood were to happen, Colony House might be their only ark.
Yeah.
Might be.
And I just keep going back to the boat because they made a big
Yeah,
deal
the
about the
boat.
boat. They
Yeah.
have been, like I
The
said,
boats are
from,
even on the carvings on the wall. Like we even see boats
yeah.
there too.
Yeah, and from doesn't bring up something unless there's meaning. We know that. They have proven that much. They have talked about the boat constantly. And they brought it back when Kimono Lady tries to persuade Boyd by
Yeah,
showing him a picture of their house, the house that he was going to retire in, where he was driving to with his family. And
yeah.
Boyd says, it's almost perfect. You almost got this perfect, but
No
there's
boat.
something missing. My
Yes.
boat is missing.
Yes.
Why was it
Boat.
missing? Kimono Lady is magical. Maybe it's missing because it's not at your house, Boyd. It's in from. You're gonna need it.
Boy.
You're gonna use it. That's why. That's where it's at, right? Because why
Yeah.
would she forget the boat? And why did he make such a big deal of saying, my boat is not at my house? That's basically the message we're getting. My boat is not depicted in my house,
Yeah.
even though you know everything somehow.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's true. The one thing that was gone was the boat. The boat was not there. Very interesting detail for the entity to miss, for sure. For sure. Yes, Smiley holding an olive branch. Wouldn't that be quite the sight? Wouldn't that be? Boyd's Boat and the Flood is what the show is setting up. I don't believe it's happening in this season. I mean, if they're really going to go the Flood route, then yeah, I probably would imagine that would be something they would do in the final season. But you never know with Fromville. I myself, I'm still not 100% convinced that we are going to get a Flood. But you can't deny there has at least been some foreshadowing of it with the drawings for sure, and all the boat talk. So maybe it's coming. Okay, Calm Before the Storm, episode 10. What a long, strange trip it's been. I mean, well, it has been a very long, strange trip. But I also want to look this up because I feel like I've heard this before. What a long, strange trip this has been. I knew I've seen this before. This is an album by the Grateful Dead. I knew I've heard this before. This is an album title from the Grateful Dead. Okay, I knew I freaking heard that before. Okay, awesome. Okay, I like that. I like that.
What was the theme of the album? Was there a
Um,
specific song that was titled that?
um, I don't know. See, let's find out.
And I also do like it because it follows the pattern that this title applies to multiple characters. It would apply to
Yeah.
Julie if Julie is embarking on her story walking trip. It would apply to Jade and Tabitha as Jade and Tabitha have been through reincarnation, which itself is a trip, right? It's traveling from body to life to arrive. So it applies to multiple people at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, what a long, strange trip it's been. Usually it's a popular expression used to reflect an odorous, unpredictable, or unusual journey through life or a specific project. The line originated in the Grateful Dead song "Truckin'," released in 1970 in the 1970 album American Beauty. Interpretations, while the phrase has passed into the cultural psyche as a general reflection on life's ups and downs, it carries several layers of meaning: the journey of life, the reflection on struggle, and a psychedelic subtext. Given the band's
Mm.
association with the counterculture movement, Trip also alludes to the mystical or psychedelic nature of their experiences. Okay, this is going to be a fun
Mm.
one. I'm going to
I
look
have an
forward to.
idea.
Yeah, I've got some ideas too, and I'm going to be diving deep into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. What's your idea?
Okay. So a long trip, it has to be a long trip. Julie, if she starts traveling or story walking, that's not a long trip because she has to come back, right? It's gonna be short burst,
Mhm.
short trips, I'm guessing.
Who's had a
What
long trip?
about if we finally
Who's
get
had
the
a
person we've all been looking for, the other person that we believe to be a story walker, Victor's sister?
yeah?
Victor's sister arrives and
Who's
she's like,
had a
dude,
long
this has
trip?
been the longest and strangest trip. I've been
Yep.
story walking for all this time. And she comes
Hmm.
back and she's like, it's me, Eloise, Victor.
Yep.
Because I went and
Exactly.
I hid and I story walked. And it's been what, 50, 60 years?
Yeah.
That would totally fit. Long, strange trip.
I think it fits perfectly. Victor and Eloise were the first things that popped into mind.
Mhm.
It's like, what a long, strange trip this is. Because, like you said, Julie traveling to a time period, not really. I mean, at first I thought, could it just be referring to all of their trips, like the general trip that they went through in Fromville? But it still hasn't been like super, super long even for them. But it has been long for Victor and Eloise. So I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. But yeah, I love the kind of hidden subtext under, the phrase itself, referring to, like the journey of life, the reflection on struggle and, psychedelic subtexts. So there's a lot of deeper double layered meanings there beyond just the surface. So yeah, these are some very interesting titles. These are some very, if these are all 100% legit and these are the titles, and most of these titles do very much fit with what we'll probably be getting for season four. Like these look like From titles. They look very
Mhm.
fitting. So yeah, this is interesting. This is very interesting, and it's always kind of fun to dive into stuff like this and try and interpret some of these titles. But yeah, Victor and Eloise, they're the ones that come to mind when it comes to what a long, strange trip it's been, because it's been long and it's been very strange for them. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, there's other people who have had long, strange trips as well, like the Unkui children themselves, like the reincarnations of Jade and Tabitha. What a long, strange trip it's been for them as well. Like, there's a lot of interpretations where this could go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have my heart set on Eloise now,
I do
especially
too.
because they
That was
bring
the first
back.
thing that popped into mind, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like they do a lot of listening to us, to the fans, to the family, the people that love the show.
Yeah,
Um, Smiley was iconic, and a part of me, the majority of me, believes that Smiley is back because people were so into Smiley. So they decided to bring him back to write in. Maybe it was another monster, and they just chose Smiley. Smiley's gonna be the one that returns. They know that we have been looking for Eloise. They've heard
yeah.
it. They've heard that
They
we
know.
are looking.
They
They
know.
know. They
They
know we're
know that
waiting for
we're not
Eloise.
accepting that little one line that we got at the end of season three of Victor maybe or maybe not burying Eloise or what he thinks might. No, they know we're not accepting that. They know we're going to need a definitive
Yeah,
answer on that.
I think it's Eloise. I think she's arriving. I really
Eloise and
do.
yeah, Eloise and Victor were the first thing that came to mind. I mean, I just feel like it would be a very fitting conclusion, or kind of, having it kind of come full circle, because this Eloise thing has been looming for 2 seasons now with really no information, nothing solid anyway. But no, I like Big Hex also, also an acid trip. Yeah, what a long, strange trip it's been. I mean, we do know there have, taking acid is very much a thing inside From. We know that's what kicked off Miranda's visions to begin with, her and Henry having an acid trip. So you might not be too far off there. You might not be too far off there. But yeah, there it is. All 10, well, 8 of the 10 titles for season 4 of From. Again, we don't have any of the titles for episode 7, and we don't have the title for episode 3, but the rest of them are all here. And a lot of them do seem kind of fitting. I gotta say, a lot of them do seem pretty fitting with From and where From is most likely going to be heading in season 4. So yeah, this was fun. This was really fun diving into these, and I'm sure we're going to continue to dive deep into all of these. I'm already thinking of other possibilities for all of these titles. I'm probably going to do a full video on it. I wanted to get on here and just go live right away, just so we could all discuss it. Because as I've promised before, anytime we get anything even remotely close to being new From style, I'm going to go live right away so we can dive right into it. And that goes for anything new that we get. So this was fun. I'm sure this is not going to be the only stream that we do diving into some of these titles and these supposed release dates. But yeah, I think I'm going to do a full on video diving a little deeper into some of these and see where else it can take us. Because I have a feeling this is going to be birthing a lot of theories over the next few weeks, which is fun. It's fun to have something new to theorize on.
It really is fun. It really is fun. And once again, if you guys have not joined the Discord, join Jeremy's Discord. It's the best people. The minute that anything comes out, like it's on there. Jeremy has it. It's listed on his Discord somewhere around there. Like the minute you have the best people. So
Hmm. Yeah, we got plenty of, yeah, exactly. We got some time to chew on the titles and continue to theory craft while we wait for the trailer to eventually come. Because I imagine that's next. You know, we got some interesting episode titles. So I imagine the next thing that we get that's going to be new will most likely be either a new poster with a release date or a teaser trailer. So that's probably what's going to be coming next. But yeah, until then, yeah, we got something new to theorize on and to dive into. And again, this is, we're going to continue to do our Fromville streams at least once a week, and we will continue to dive into all of this stuff and, just keep killing that time until From season 4 eventually gets here, or the trailer eventually gets here. Hell,
Mm.
well, I feel like once the trailer gets here, that's when From like really started. Even though From's only on for 10 weeks and it's on for 10 episodes, I feel like it's a lot more than that. As soon as the trailer gets there, it's like, okay, that's the beginning of From. From's already here. We got weeks of From to look forward to before the show even starts. And that's just dissecting the trailers. So I'm dying for a trailer. I cannot wait for a season 4 trailer to drop. But hopefully that'll be what we get next. But if nothing else, as Bill D says, this is a great start. We have something to chew on for now. We have something to theorize on. We have episode titles to dive a little bit deeper into. And I'm sure all of you are going to be coming up with some awesome, awesome stuff pertaining to these episode titles in the Discord over the next few days and weeks. And I will be in there checking out all of it and theorizing right along with you guys. So yeah, it's nice to have something new.
Yeah, so exciting. It's so
Yeah.
exciting. This was amazing. This was awesome, you guys.
Yeah.
I feel like we have figured out the show for them. And if
I'm gonna
and if
laugh when
this
the
is not
show
what it is, then they need to work in some of our ideas, okay?
I'm gonna
Because they're
laugh when
good.
the show comes out and we were just completely wrong about every single episode title, all of us. Like that would be super funny. I mean, but
I love
again,
that. I
I
love
would
that. I
love
love
that.
being
I wouldn't mind
surprised.
that. I wouldn't mind
Because
that.
the point is not to be right. The
It's
point
not
is
about to be. It's
to
not
come
about
up with
being
like
right.
interesting
Yeah,
ideas.
it's about having
This is
fun.
basically we are
Yeah,
a creative story session writing with all of our
yeah,
friends.
yeah. It's about having fun at the end of the day. It's not about being right. Absolutely. I mean, it's fun to get some theories right. Don't get me wrong, but it's about having fun. That's the most important thing. Absolutely. But yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it feels like From is slowly returning. It feels like we are slowly returning to Fromville. We're back in Westeros for the first time in a long time, which has been great. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the first episode was phenomenal, I thought. If you guys haven't checked that out, I would say check it out. I mean, there's not a whole lot of good stuff on TV right now. So if you're looking for something a little bit decent with some good characters to watch while we kill the time, check out A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. The first episode I thought was really, really good. But here we go, folks. The Fromville train is beginning to leave the station. We got some episode titles for season 4. Hopefully, we'll get a trailer or a little teaser at some point at the end of the month or next month, the latest. And we will continue to build up the hype that is From season 4 until we eventually get that solid release date. But yeah, big thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us this evening. We'll be live again next week for another all new Fromville hour. And of course, this Sunday, I'll be live for another Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode 2 pregame show as well. So stay safe out there, ladies and gents. Keep those tinfoil hats on, folks. And we will see all of you on the next one. Cheers, y'all. Oh, that's right. And I forgot. If you guys have not subscribed to PM's channel, she has recently started doing some awesome content again. If you guys have seen 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, definitely check out her review. And I know she's going to start doing some From content pretty soon as well. So, guys, if you have not subscribed to PM, please sub to her channel, show some love, show the Fromily awesome member some love, and check out her stuff. The link will be in the chat. Cheers, y'all. Have a good night, everyone.